And finally, it's time to travel and explore the world. Each country has its own culture.
Yes, indeed, Fareed, and tours in Kuwait are really special as well. So how about we introduce our guest, Abdallah Anizi, a local tour guide. And good morning, Abdallah. Welcome to the sunshine.
Good morning, Amal, and good morning, Fareed. It's good to be with you here in my country's TV. After maybe 25 years of being on TV, I was actually featured in KTV in an earlier program, so it's good to be back now.
Well, wonderful.
It's beautiful. Abdallah, first of all, Abdallah, tell us about yourself and what do you do and your experience in traveling.
First of all, I'm a public relations officer. This is my job, so I'm into events and activities.
Oh, nice.
Traveling was actually a recent hobby which I started enjoying a couple of years ago. And after a number of group trips that I had started traveling with, I was asked to join as a tour guide in the company that I was with earlier. After that, I joined a couple of friends and we made our own company.
Nice.
And we're currently doing international and local tours. After the pandemic, we obviously, because the traveling was not as easy and convenient as it was before.
The pandemic stopped everything.
Yes, we're focusing, or I'm personally focusing now on local activities.
Well, what inspired you, Abdullah, to have it in Kuwait? Because I know a lot of us would say there is no place to go in Kuwait. Where do we have a tour there?
Actually, this is a good question. What inspired me is because I was back to Kuwait, let's say around 2011. Before that, I was all around the world in terms of school. I was in boarding school as a child, and then I was in university in the States. So I think I had an issue with that, which made me love Kuwait more and want to show the bright side of Kuwait, because I actually do believe we have the potential. We don't have it in an official way, unfortunately. However, I remember when I travel, the most times that I enjoy are trips that I join from private companies.
Yes.
So this is where we started, and we believe that we're working on. So there are actually a lot of options in Kuwait for people to enjoy.
Well, I think whenever we want to go outside, that's right. The man of the country knows where to go and where to lead you.
Absolutely. You know, definitely, this is a common question, you know, where to go? You know, we need to put a lot of emphasis on our local, you know, interesting areas. So speaking of traveling, definitely when you say a tour guide, I have two questions. Does that mean you have to know everything about that destination, every single detail, or every important thing? And how this won't, you know, really come an obstacle to your personal job as a public relation officer?
It's actually been a trend a couple of years ago for companies here in Kuwait to organize these group trips. Kuwait is, the majority of them, they like to be spoon-fed. Especially when it comes.
This is great.
Yes, especially when it comes to traveling as well. So it's just, I guess, the matter of option, because we're obviously not the only choice. There are a number of companies in Kuwait that provide these group trips. However, it's a matter of where you decide to, who you decide to go with. And the research is obviously vital. People, they have to do enough research. You don't necessarily actually even have to travel to this country before making your own trip, as long as you know you're working with an official company from wherever you're traveling. Because this, another good side about this is when you travel to a new destination with your group, working with an official company from the destination, you're going to be inspired yourself. You're going to be interested, because I noticed some trips with guides who are repeating to the same country, they're not as interested as they are when it's the first time that they travel.
That's true.
But research is definitely important for the destination.
Well, that is really great.
So, and also about your personal job, you know, and as a tour guide, as public officer.
One thing actually that's linked from my job to my current part-time job is the tours. As a public relations officer, we have a lot of, I think the guest before me mentioned KOC.
Yes.
So I work for KOC as well. And we have a lot of oil visitors that visit us in Kuwait. And in the PR department, sometimes we take them on tours in Kuwait and we show them the beauty of our country. One tour that I had actually done in my job was the Mbarkiya Market Walk. I wanted to make it available in an official way, but in a more enjoyable, not necessarily formal way. So I started, this was my first tour, and actually I take participants to over 50 points in Mbarkiya. Some of them are historical, some of them are new, but it's definitely, I try to bring...
They love it, huh?
They love it, definitely. Who doesn't like Mbarkiya?
Absolutely. When you see the roof, huh?
Well, I know firsthand, Farid, that Abdallah took a tour and he was pointing even to the pavement that has been walking around here and there and telling them about the first libraries and Kishk Mubarak and a lot of historical monuments there. Abdallah was really, and that was a feedback from a tour joiners there. So Abdallah, I know that you have traveled, you said you have traveled to many countries, and you have traveled as, let's say, a boarding schooler, as a traveler as well, and as a tour guide. So what country exactly interests you most?
That's an excellent question.
Yes, and another one, we know that a lot of competition nowadays between travelers, hitchhikers, backpackers, as well as, let's say, adventure traveling tours. Can you just tell us what about that competition?
I'm going to talk about my favorite country actually first, because this is, like Farid said, it's a very good question. I have two favorite countries. My favorite is the one that I fell in love right as I arrived, which is Portugal.
Oh, Portugal.
Yes, I love Portugal so much. In general, I love the Mediterranean countries, but specifically Portugal.
I thought you would say Austria. You know,
well, I thought America because he was in the USA.
Canada.
But it's expected, but it's only because I personally love the beach.
The beach.
And I love the sea. And Portugal,
surrounded.
The nature is absolutely beautiful. The people are more chill and relaxed, and there are a ton of options. And I personally did a lot of things which I've never did before in Portugal for the first time, where I rented a caravan, and it's my first time to go there. I had
probably
a lot of,
like Ronaldo.
Yeah, I enjoyed Portugal a lot, yes. My second country is Turkey, by the way.
Who?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Yes, because Turkey, it's the land over there is beautiful. Even there are nice beaches, a lot of history, and I enjoy Turkey as well.
Well, that is really nice.
Absolutely.
Our next trip is Portugal, Farid.
And
Mark that.
Portugal, I want to go to Portugal and Spain, because we've been in Switzerland, Austria. I mean, you said it, because it's the main interesting thing for Abdallah is the beach.
Yes.
And others, they like the landscape, valleys,
mountains. Some would love mountains.
Yeah, mountains are really amazing.
Yes,
that's
absolutely,
what,
the nature.
Catch the eye, you know. But let's talk about the local tourism.
Sure.
In Kuwait.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Do you have, do Kuwait, or do you believe Kuwait has the potential, to be tourist friendly?
Actually, this is one of the issues which I've been having a very hard time earlier to prove to people that Kuwait definitely has the potential for tourism. People would assume that. I think it's because until today, unfortunately, we don't have an official entity that represents tourism. However, in terms of potential, we definitely do. And since we made our own company, I found finally a way to prove to people how we can be tourist friendly. We made actually over 20 local tours in Kuwait. We started with Mbarkiya, and we came up with a very interesting activity as well, which is stargazing.
Stargazing?
Yes, we took people all the way to...
Okay, stargazing.
Yes.
So you go to the desert.
We can see a tour in Kuwait.
This is next weekend, actually. I'm having this tour on Friday.
Okay.
This is next weekend, Jle'a.
Yes, it's a cycling tour in a very interesting and beautiful area, which is Jle'a. It's going to be followed by a community table luncheon right on the beach as well. It's actually one of the most selling activities that we've done, and I think we were the first company to organize a cycling tour right in the chalet area of Jle'a.
Well, that is really marvelous. And going cycling, this is first of all environment friendly, as well as taking everything with you.
Absolutely. So you said three things, and three main things: Mbarkiya, and stargazing, the desert, basically.
Yes.
And shalihat
Yes.
means, you know, we're talking about the beach.
Yes.
And their attached activities, whether bicycles
Yes.
or, you know, or swimming,
Sailing.
fishing,
Yes.
dancing, whatever. I mean, not dancing in a.
Yes.
I mean, in a good way, you know, doing, you know,
The traditional
traditional
Kuwaiti,
samrat,
yes.
you know. So
That is
so
right.
so these three main things you could, you know, make basically a network of interesting things
Yes.
to be as a tourist interest.
Yeah, if I can add one more thing
Sure.
about the stargazing. I actually had this tour when I was out of Kuwait, when I was traveling, I mean.
Nice.
And I wanted to make this tour available in Kuwait. So I tried to see all what I had, all the notes I had and how to make it Kuwait friendly. So I joined with a company in Kuwait and I brought the largest portable telescope
Whoa.
all the way to the desert
Oh.
where people can beautifully view the galaxy and the stars and the planets. And we have actually a very interesting agenda where we have a Q&A section, we have prizes, we have questions, and it's actually a very interesting tour. We're also going to have it again. Obviously, because of the hot weather in summer, it's not available, but it's coming back soon, inshallah, the stargazing night.
That's marvelous. See,
yeah.
the movable telescope. Abdallah, I know that a lot of local stuff that or activities you have done in Kuwait, and this is what we are interested in. So if me, my colleague Farid, would like to join a tour, let's say in or out of Kuwait,
Yeah.
how can we join you, and what do you, what is it, all the plans that you do, the schedule that we see?
What is the procedure for that?
Everything in terms of signing up is becoming easier. So you can join up from your phone right now by checking our social media platforms or our website online. You can join any of the trips that we have available.
Nice.
The soonest actually is next weekend.
Yeah.
We have on Friday the Jalea cycling tour, and we also have a very interesting activity which is for the entire weekend from Thursday to Saturday. Yes, it's actually a fun-filled agenda from check-in and at the resort that we're doing the activity with until the checkout. Some activities that we're gonna make is like, for example, a pizza making class right in a huge garden.
Okay.
We have sunset kayaking. We have barbecue night.
Tell us about Gumbar.
Oh, I'm surprised you mentioned
honestly, this is.
Yes.
Okay, is it
You
one
know,
of the
this is-
activities that you do?
I wasn't expecting this question, but I'm,
Would that really, you know, go with the, you
Yes.
know, foreigners, you know?
see when Kuwaitis, when we mention the gumbar, which is English crabbing in English, people they look down at it as if
we are watching now on the monitor.
You went there, Gumbar.
Yes, right. It was actually a very perfect spot because this exact spot that we're seeing right now was what we call, it's a sandbank. In
Okay.
Kuwaiti we call it
Yeah.
al-hala.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the most beautiful things I personally love in Jalea. So I started my tour with visiting this beautiful sandbank, and here's one of the crabs that we experienced. Crabbing obviously is something not probably enjoyed by everyone. However, what I made is that I made it suitable for everyone, even for beginners.
Okay.
So I provided all the equipment in the beginning, and even before going to the beach, I give them a workshop. It's for about half an hour. I tell them
Nice.
all about the species of the Kuwait Sea, all of them, and like the sand dollar and the oysters, all kind of because you know in Kuwait this is one of the major options that people
Absolutely.
can enjoy, which is the gumbar activity.
Yeah.
And yes,
I think you are the first tour that had that activity in a tour.
We never heard, you know, before
We can
that.
do it alone.
No,
with
no, we do it,
families,
but as a company, and you know, that's a brilliant idea, Abdallah. Honestly, good for you.
Thank you very
excellent, excellent thinking, and definitely Amal, you know.
Yeah, we love that too so much. We really love
you have to try gumbar with
It's
it.
important.
You are from
with
Felita,
Adam.
so
Yes,
you know.
yeah. This is a first for us.
It's important
The sea life.
to do something that you enjoy. I mean, I'm very passionate with crabbing, honestly. I've been gumbaring since I was 6 years old.
MashaAllah.
So I got a chance to finally do something that I like, and I've done it over 6 times just this last summer.
We do something like gumbar, but you know, more khathathiq.
Yeah, okay.
We actually catch both during this activity. Yeah,
Really?
it's half and half. We catch crabs, we catch sometimes fish, and mostly squids, especially in the area where we're doing it.
Yeah.
Squids is actually a big number, which is al-khathaq. You're right.
You know, they used to come close to it.
Camouflage it and put it in.
No, he stays
You
it.
can
And
see
we were.
he's grabbing in his own hands.
I'm actually
Yeah.
teaching them how
Yeah, how
to
to-
catch it with your own hand. Yes.
Wow. And
Nice.
that is
That's
something.
beautiful.
Well,
That's
we'll
beautiful.
get scared to be bitten or just
See,
like
see, the law of physics also implemented here, because you know when you have the squid in front of you, you think it's there, but it's a little bit broken because you have fraction.
the fraction of light.
Yeah.
That's really true. So I know that during the pandemic, a lot of the traveling agencies, Abdallah, has suffered, a lot of them, and a lot of the traveling guides as well, that tour guides that were really having it abroad, had like a bump in those lockdowns and curfews and not traveling. What about you?
We obviously had to temporarily stop all our international trips. And it did affect a lot of us, actually. We even tried to announce some of the trips, regardless of the pandemic, obviously to countries that allowed people to travel. However, still people were a bit scared to join.
Yeah.
So, which is why we went to the local activity field. So we were influenced, obviously, with this to a certain circumstance or a certain part.
That's really nice. So next week, I know that your upcoming plans is
Yes.
for the weekend and
The big weekend.
The big weekend.
Yes.
Is there? I know that you have a website for souvenirs as well.
True.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about those two things?
Sure. Souvenirs, actually, my online store. While traveling, I personally enjoy shopping myself.
Yeah.
It's probably not a nice thing to mention in Kuwait, but I personally enjoy it because, when I travel and I enjoy, gather these souvenirs, it's not necessarily international, well-known brands that I like to purchase myself, but I mean local-made stuff from local markets and
Yes.
local brands. And I see my friends and my family every time how they enjoy what these souvenir gifts that I bring them, and people keep telling me you have a good taste when it comes to these local souvenirs. So why don't you come up with your own store? Which is why I made souvenir, and it's not necessarily magnets or even keychains. No, it's actually a lot of local products from every single country that I travel.
Well, I think a good traveler really goes to the market of the country and the local ones, and those are the traditional ones and local ones, Farid, because this is what we want. We don't want the international, the ones that we can find in our country. We need something unique and special.
Yes.
Absolutely. Going back to the stargaze.
Yes.
Do you think this is like feasible, profitable?
We actually had over 60 participants joining this activity within 2 weeks. Obviously, one of the reasons is we were one of the first that made this sort of activity. It's obviously not feasible. When we first planned it, we had no idea how will people join, and even until today, the local tourism industry in Kuwait, it's still considered new. So it was a bit of a challenge to announce such a trip and to see the fees. But
I meant, Abdallah, definitely this is, you know, we are all proud of that, you know, such a Kuwait person doing that. But, I mean, it's risky. I hope there is some government support for you guys, because, you know, frankly,
He's private,
you know,
I think.
you know, dragging all this gigantic telescope to the main, in the middle of the desert, you know, and pulling people, please come and watch, you know, definitely, you know, it takes expenses.
yes, we hope that the government obviously supports such activities in a formal way, not us obviously, but any local Kuwaitis interested in supporting the local tourism. We hope as well. I want to avoid this part because we actually had some issues in this aspect, but I'm not going to mention them right now.
Okay, okay.
Well,
anyway.
we hope everyone, that entities that would really benefit and give a support to local tours as well as tourism. This is the important thing, to have a tourism here in Kuwait. We have to support the people that's behind and really going to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Abdallah Sudan Al-Anizi, thank you very much, and we are really proud of you.
Thank you very much, Farid, and thank you very much, Amal. It was a pleasure meeting you today and having me on KTV2.
Thank you.
It was really wonderful to have you with us here, Abdallah, and thanks to Abdallah, we now know that how you can catch a crab with your own hands, go crabbing or go stargazing.
Gumbaring.
Gumbaring, and that is. And going from tours, I know that we have a lot of interesting tour locations here in Kuwait, especially the cultural centers. How about we check that break after the break?